Good morning, everybody. Hope you're well. Greetings from beautiful sunny Tel Aviv. We're here for a few days, relaxing a little bit and also doing some work, so a really nice blend. Hope you are all well. I'll try and bring some beautiful sunshine back with me when we fly home tomorrow. Happy Friday to you all. Today we are talking about profiles and what they can do for you and your business. Now, what do I mean by profile? What I'm talking about is what's called your psychometric profile. So that's really figuring out how you're wired and what makes you tick. It's not about what you're good at or really even necessarily what you like doing, but it's really about what your internal wiring and as I say, kind of what makes you tick, who you really are inside, not the mask that you might put on yourself or who you think you are, who other people think you are, but really kind of who you are inside. It's one of the lenses that we can use to understand each other. Obviously, there's also your personality, your upbringing, your cultural background, where you grew up, what happened to you as a child, etc. So many different facets to this, but this is a very important aspect of understanding who we are ourselves, so giving ourselves self-awareness, and then also how we work with other people. It's one of my favourite topics and something that I use when I work with all of the clients that I work with. So it's a really key tool for me, and I'd like to explain to you today why it's so important, what it can really do for you and your business, and of course answer any questions that you have about it. So it really is, understanding your profile really can be life-changing for people, and I want to give you some examples of how that works and some examples that I've seen in my work. So there are many psychometric profiling tools out there. You might have heard of Myers-Briggs, you might have heard of DISC, you might have heard of Strength Finders, Insights. There are many different tools, and they're all based on the work of a gentleman called Carl Jung, who was a Swiss psychiatrist. And you may or may not have heard of him, but he came up with many of the psychological terms that are actually now in day-to-day language. Things like introvert, the concept of introvert, extrovert, also the concept of collective unconscious. So these words that sometimes we use in language, they actually came from the work that Carl Jung did. All of these different tools are based on his work, or pretty much all of them are based on his work, and so they're all similar, but they're all used in different ways. And I have used a number of them in my past life. In those of you that have worked for large companies have probably come across these tests from time to time. But I was introduced to a tool called Talent Dynamics a few years ago, and it completely blew my mind. And the reason that I really love it, and the reason that I want to share it with those of you that haven't yet discovered it, is that it talks about energies. And for a lot of people, that term can really resonate with people. People talk about draining energy or getting energy. Morning, Tracy, thanks for joining. Talking about energies and also this concept of flow. So Talent Dynamics uses this concept of flow. So what do we mean by being in flow? So it's when you're just in the zone. It's when things are just flowing and it's easy, and maybe time is standing still for you, or maybe it's just kind of going past, and you don't even really necessarily have that concept of time. You definitely don't necessarily feel like you're at work because you're just enjoying yourself. You might even be having fun. It's being described as that place between being bored and being stressed. So we all want enough challenge and learning in our life, but we don't want too much of it. So if we have too much, then we get stressed and anxious, and if we don't have enough, then we kind of get bored and fed up. So it's that perfect place where you're just in the zone, and Talent Dynamics calls that being in flow. And our job as business owners is firstly to understand what puts us individually in flow, and that will be different for me than it is for you watching. Morning, Tommy, thanks for joining. Oh, and happy birthday for the other day. So what puts me in flow will be different than what puts you in flow. But if we can understand that about ourselves, that really can have a huge impact on our businesses, but also then on our people, because then we can, our job as business owners is to put our people in flow. And this tool is really, really helpful in in terms of understanding what puts our people in flow, and therefore how to build teams and how to get the right people around you to make you successful. The reason that these tools are so important and can be so life-changing for people is that really we all see the world through our own spectacles. Now, you know that, I know that, we're all intelligent people, we get that. Intellectually we get that. Intellectually we get that I'm different than you. But emotionally we don't really understand that. I can only experience the world as Lisa. I have no idea what it feels like to be any of you that are watching this. And you don't know what it feels like to be me. And so even though we know it in our heads, in our brains, when something happens, particularly when we're stressed or we're emotional, we're under pressure, we find it surprising that other people don't react like us. So somebody could say something to you and it could really have a huge impact on you, and the next person, they wouldn't even hardly notice, and we think, well, how is that possible? So we only really experience the world through our own spectacles, and what this tool does, what Talent Dynamics does, is starts to give us a bit of an insight of what it must feel like to be somebody else. And if we can understand that, then we have a better chance of being able to work in harmony with the other person, but also understand more about ourselves and what makes us tick, and why we react in a certain way, and what puts us in flow and why. So this all sounds very, very logical, but the idea about this, and the reason that this concept of energies is really important is, I mentioned earlier on, we'll use terms like, that really drains me, or that really gives me energy. And Talent Dynamics helps you understand what activities actually give you energy and what activities drain you. You might really enjoy them, but at the end of the day, you're absolutely exhausted. And so this is why it's really important. If you understand that with your people, it's not about what they are good at, it's about what takes more of their energy. And if you start to understand that, then you can start to plan your time and your activities so that you maximize the energy that you have. We all have the same amount of energy when we wake up in the morning. It's all about how you use it during the day. And as business owners, time and energy are really some of our most important resources. So just very quickly, I want to give you a little bit of a flavour of this, and some of you watching will already understand about these 4 energies, but I know there are lots of people in this group that have no idea what I'm talking about, so I just quickly want to explain the 4 energies. So we all have these 4 energies inside us, but we all have a different amount, and so each of us are a unique combination of these 4 energies. So I want to give you a little bit of a flavour of those. So the first one is called, Talent Dynamics calls it dynamo energy, and that's that it's what I call the oomph. You can hear it in my voice at the moment. I've got quite a bit of dynamo energy, so that's the creative, driving forward, often very impatient, blue sky, full of all the different possibilities, often very excitable, very good at starting things, not so good at necessarily finishing things, looking to the future, all the possibilities, what is going to happen. That is the spring energy. It's the energy of creation and new life and new ideas and new possibilities. It's also very instinctive, so it's that kind of gut feeling, and often very confident, and often very driven and moving very quickly, often very impatient. Completely overestimating what can be done in the next 5 minutes, and so people who have high dynamo are often late or arriving just about on time, because they're always squeezing as many things as they can as possible into the time. The opposite of that dynamo energy is what we call tempo energy, and this energy is much, much, much more grounded and has a completely different relationship with time, as the name might suggest. So this is much more about what I can feel and what I can touch, whereas someone with high dynamo energy, you can sell them on a concept, on an idea, you can kind of draw them a picture and they'll buy from you. People with high tempo energy, they're much more reflective. They want to see and feel and touch, so much, much more grounded. Dynamo energy, head in the clouds. Tempo energy, feet on the ground, much more grounded, connected, understand what I can see and what I can feel and what I can touch and what I can experience. So before someone with high tempo energy is going to buy something, they're going to want to experience, they're going to want to try it out, they're going to want to go to the shop and look at it and touch it and feel it. People with high tempo energy, much more reflective, much better at refining the ideas. So the dynamos have all these ideas, and the tempo energies are very much better at saying, of those 10 ideas, this is the one that's going to work, and that's why. Tempo energy people often don't feel as valued as dynamo, because dynamos are going fast and they're having all these ideas, but the tempo energies very good at balancing, very good at productivity, so very good at taking something and making it better, good at negotiating, good at managing a system. People that are involved in events are often with high tempo, anything to do with scheduling, so very much more about the here and now, very much more about facts and figures and what I know to be true. A sense of balance and harmony. People with high tempo don't like conflict. Dynamo is all about the change and doesn't necessarily mind a bit of argy-bargy. People with high tempo energy, they like things to be calm, they like things to be in balance, they like order, they like things to be organised and, as I say, calm, much more reflective. So sometimes for people with high dynamo, they think tempo people don't like change, and that's not actually true. Tempo people want to be consulted, want their ideas to be taken into consideration. They are looking at the good of the community, of the system. They have a much better understanding than dynamos do of what's really going on. So which customers are happy, which team members are how people are doing. They just have a much better sense of what's going on in the here and now. And time is very important. So when and where is the question that you'll hear tempo people asking. And this is the autumn energy. Now we come on to the classic introvert-extrovert energies, and a lot of people misunderstand this difference. A lot of people think that people that are extroverts are loud and chatty and confident, and often they are, but that's not really what being an extrovert is all about. What being an extrovert is about is where you get your energy from. And extroverts get their energy from being with people. So they will consult with people, social proof is very important. They will, before making a purchase decision, they will want to ask a lot of people before making a decision. They achieve their best results through collaborating with people, through working with people. These are the people who understand and know what is going on. They're very interested in what is going on in your life. They will pick up a lot of information, a lot of detail about people. So they get their energy from people. So somebody who is an extrovert, they like being around people. The worst thing you can do for an extrovert, someone that has a lot of this blaze energy in talent dynamics terms, the worst thing you can do to them is sit them in a quiet room and not give them access to people. They will find that very difficult after a period of time. This is the warm energy, the summer energy, and it's all about, the question here is all about who. So now we have the counterpoint to that, which is the classic introvert energy. This in talent dynamics terms is called the steel energy. And this is about clarity, this is about systems, this is about facts and figures, this is a colder energy, this is about structure and organisation, this is about getting things done. And often people with high steel energy, they can appear to be cold to people with high blaze energy because they're maybe not so chatty, they may be more reserved, they may be more interested in getting the job done than in passing the time of day. And it's not that they're not good with people, they just don't get their energy from people in the same way as people with high blaze energy do. It's much more about, as I say, about the task. Often wise souls, people with high steel energy, they don't necessarily talk a lot, but when they do, you better listen because they know what they're talking about, and they're likely to keep the high dynamos that are moving at 100 miles an hour, they're likely to keep them out of jail. So best to pay attention to your people with high steel energy. And the point is that we need all 4 of these energies in our team, and each of us has a different amount of these 4 energies, and that's what blends together to make us all unique individuals. So I'm going to give you a quick example, and this I'm exaggerating here, but just so that you understand what I'm talking about. So you imagine being in a lift. Oh, hello. Hi Brad. Hi. Hope you had a great time in South Africa. Welcome home. Imagine 4 people in a lift that have these 4 different energies. So the dynamo person is the person that is pressing on the button going, can't we just go here? Can't we just go? Come on. I want to get on with it. Very, very impatient. The tempo person is the person that is holding the door open and inviting people in, making sure everybody's got enough room. Again, very aware of people and the system and harmony and balance. The blaze person is the person that is chatting to everybody. The person that by the time you've reached the 4th floor, they already know everybody's name, everybody's business, who they're doing, what people are doing for the rest of the day. Always very good at striking up relationships, building rapport, and finding out juicy details about people. And the person with the high steel energy is likely to be stood in the corner, not saying anything, deep breath, saying to themselves, I hope this lift can carry all of these people. I hope that we're not going to get stuck, and actually maybe I'm just going to exit the lift and wait for the next one. So this is a little bit of an exaggeration, but these are the 4 energies. If you think about going to the hairdresser, hairdressers nearly always hire people who are very chatty, because there is this assumption that if you go to the hairdresser that you want to be chatting with people, you want to be passing the time of day, you want them to ask them about your weekend and all that. Now, many of us may actually enjoy that, but I have to tell you that there's probably about half the population that would actually just quite like the hairdresser to, go, hi, how are you doing, how was your weekend, and then just get on and cut my hair, thank you very much. And this is a good example of how we are all wired very differently. And it's a really it's a really important thing to remember, as I say, because hairdressers are a classic example, and there are lots of other service industries. Yes, you have to be good with people, but you don't necessarily have to be chatty, because not everybody wants that. Morning, Lex. Well, you could go for a polish. Lex is saying that he's not going to the hairdressers, which I think is a bit of a shame, but you could go for a polish, right? And they might be very, very chatty, and you would probably enjoy that, knowing you. Okay, let me give you some other examples then. As I mentioned, and I always say this to people, it's not about capability. So when people see their chart, they're often like, oh, I don't have very much of this energy. I'm not very good in this area. And I always say it's not what you're good at. So let me give you an example. Somebody that has a lot of steel energy and not a lot of the blaze, the people energy. Somebody who has a lot of steel energy, they could decide that they wanted to be a public speaker. And they could train to be the best public speaker in the world, and people could go up to them and go, oh my God, that was such an amazing speech. I love it, you were amazing. And you know what? They could do that for years and years and years, and they could be absolutely amazing, but they will always end the day feeling exhausted. It will always take a lot of their energy, and we have a choice about what we use our energy on. On the other side of the coin, somebody that has a lot of blaze energy could perfectly well decide that they want to become an accountant, and they could be the best accountant that you've ever worked with, and they could completely geek out on the spreadsheets, and they could be amazing, but it will always take a lot of their energy. If they don't have a lot of that steel energy, it will always take a lot from them. We all have a choice about what we spend our energy on, but once you understand that, you can plan your day, you can plan your week, and you can plan your business. We're all a unique blend of these 4 energies. And so you might be going, yeah, okay, that's great, Lisa. Yeah, I understand that. And maybe I can even imagine where I might be, what my energy might be. It's actually quite difficult to guess, surprisingly, when I first learned this. When I first got trained on this tool, I profiled all of my friends and family, and actually it came up with quite a lot of surprises. So be careful about guessing, is what I would say. It's not always so easy. Anyway, you might be saying, okay, so what? Yeah, so what about all of this? Why do I care, and what does it mean for me and my business? So the truth is that for a lot of people who start businesses, this can be a really eye-opening experience, and I'll tell you why. A lot of people who start businesses, not all, but a lot of people who start businesses have a lot of dynamo energy. They have a lot of creativity, they have a lot of ideas, they're comfortable with risk, which is why that kind of profile often is the person that is starting businesses. And often, but not always, often people who start businesses are maybe not so good at the organisation, at the admin, let's call it, the finances, the legal, often not with the HR, a lot of those systems and processes. And so what happens is you have a great idea, you're amazing at whatever you're amazing at, you start your business, you've got lots of energy, enthusiasm, you're comfortable with the risk, you go for it, and then you find yourself drowning under shit. Under all that admin and all that stuff that you're not really very good at and you don't really enjoy. But instead of going, actually, I'm not particularly good at this, I'm going to get somebody else to do that, we give ourselves a hard time. We start going, oh, I should do this and I should be better at this and I must learn to do this and I have to knuckle down, and all this language that we hear from people these ways that we use to give ourselves a hard time. And I find this a lot when I'm working with clients, especially when I start. And that's why I do the profile right at the beginning, because you can show people then why they find these things difficult and why it drains so much of their energy to sit there and knuckle down and do the finances, why that is so challenging. And the answer, in my opinion, is not necessarily to do everything yourself. You'll see that on the back of my book. Stop doing everything yourself. That is not the answer. But why do we give ourselves such a hard time? So I believe it's because as children, right from an early age, we are told off about our weaknesses. We're told not to do the things that we're told to get better at the things that we're not very good at. We're constantly being told effectively to be more like each other, to be more homogenous, to kind of round out our strengths and weaknesses. That's what we're taught. There's a lot of time spent on the things that we're not very good at. And then we grow up and we go out into jobs, and it's the same thing. A lot of companies spend a fortune on encouraging us to improve on our weaknesses. Now, don't get me wrong, if you're not very good at presentations and you want to learn to be better at presentations, be my guest. I'm not saying don't improve on your weaknesses, but we spend a lot of time feeling guilty and feeling bad about the things that actually we'd rather not be doing. And I am on a mission, and more broadly, we at Real Business Builders are on a mission to say, stop doing the things that you don't enjoy. Stop doing the things that drain your energy. Do the things that you're fabulous at. Do the things that you were born to do. Let's help you structure your business in such a way so that you can really shine. People feel so guilty. They give themselves such a hard time for the fact that they're not very good at finances or legal or HR. Stop doing all of that. There is a way, because if you spent more of your time doing the bits that you were really great at, you know what? Your business would absolutely flourish. And a lot of business owners I meet, they are really good at revenue generation, at sales, at connecting with customers. But do you know what? They're not spending very much time doing that. I spoke to somebody last week who told me he was spending less than 20% of his time doing the bits of his business that he was most successful at, that would actually generate more money. So if you think you can't afford somebody, you probably can. You probably just got a cash flow issue rather than an affordability issue. Anyway, that's a different story. There are a lot of people in this community that have already had their profiles done. But I'm also conscious there are a lot of people in this community that haven't, but I want to give you some examples. So Graham, who is in this community, he has got lots of dynamo energy, and he shared with me that he has witnessed in his own business how destructive actually that lots of dynamo energy can have to people that have more tempo energy in his business, because he can often try and move too fast. So he's definitely had that experience in his business, and he has learned, he doesn't have a huge amount of steel, and so he has learned to manage that in his business by having people around him that have got more steel than him, and that can manage the fact that he always wants to move so fast. But it's been a real eye-opening experience for him to see his profile and realise what that means for him. Nikki, also in this community, she's got lots of blaze energy, and she said to me that finding out about her profile gave her much more confidence, because as a child she was told off for being too chatty. I was as well. I feel you, Nikki, but Nikki's got a lot more blaze than me, and she was told off for being too chatty when she was a child, and she now understands and realises that it's actually a strength. It's one of her greatest strengths, her ability to connect and build relationships with other people. So these are some examples of people that have got a lot of blaze energy or dynamo energy and have learned what that means in their business. So just having a look at what Lex is telling us. Lex is telling me about the extraordinary leader. The aha moment when they discovered that the leader only had to be highly rated in 3 of the 16 areas. Absolutely, and that's the point, is recognising what you're good at and playing to your strengths, right? I think it's one of those phrases that people use a lot and they don't necessarily really get what it means. Be good at what you're good at and thrive in that, and stop giving ourselves such a hard time for not being good at the things we're good at. Another example of somebody in this community, Sophia, she's got lots of blaze and dynamo energy, and when I first met her, she was falling out of love with her business. She was getting ready to actually leave and start another business. I find that a lot. I meet a lot of people that are in that situation, and maybe that's right for you, maybe it is right, but often, and what I said to Sophia is, please don't fall out of love with your business. Please don't just leave and start again, because if you do, you'll probably find yourself back in this situation, having this conversation with me in a few years' time. Instead, why don't we look at what you're spending your time doing and stop you doing all of the things that drain your energy, all of the things that you don't want to be doing anymore and you're actually not very good at. So we worked together and we helped her find Anna, who is now running Sophia's business effectively. And while Sophia spends all of her time being out there being fabulous, she's the one that's out there fundraising, she's the one that's out there getting clients, she's the one out there speaking and connecting with people, because that's what she's amazing at doing. And guess what? They're both much happier now, and Sophia is back in love with her business, which is the best thing of all. Now I also wanted to mention something that Charlie, who's also in this community now. Charlie, I don't know what your profile is, but you mentioned in the video that you posted yesterday, or was it this morning? Yesterday, I think, you were talking about energy and flow, but you were also talking about getting up at 4 o'clock in the morning and knuckling down to do those tasks, those admin tasks that you don't quite enjoy as much and you don't find quite as easy to do. Now that's a strategy that might work well for you, and I don't know enough about your business to know, but a different approach might be to get somebody to do some of those tasks for you so that you can focus on getting some sleep at 4 o'clock in the morning, but also on driving forward your business and focusing on the bits of your business that you really shine and where you do really enjoy. So as I mentioned earlier on, companies spend a fortune trying to get us to improve on our weaknesses, and I fundamentally disagree with that. This tool that I am so passionate about, it helps you accept and realise that it is okay to be who you are, and actually it's wonderful to be who you are. You started your business for a reason, because you were good at something, and now I would invite you to ask yourself, how much of your time do you still spend on doing that thing that you're amazing at? The reason that you started your business in the first place? Or are you actually spending most of your time doing stuff that puts you out of your flow? I feel so passionate about this tool, as you probably gathered from this live. If you haven't already got your self-profiled, I really would encourage you to do so. We have an offer in the community which is basically at our cost price. It's £49 to get your self-profiled, and you get a call with me where I'll explain exactly what your individual unique profile means, and particularly what it means for you and your business, and the strategies that you can employ to make sure that you grow your business without it burning you out and taking over your life. So if you'd like to take up that opportunity, then please do get in touch. Joni will post the link again later, but I really would encourage you to take the profile if you haven't already. It really has changed people's lives, and I hope that some of the people that are on the video today can also comment. It's not just me saying that. I really do believe that self-awareness will really help you and also your businesses. Right, so lots and lots of information. I hope that you've enjoyed today's live. Please post any comments or questions that you have about the profile. Thank you so much for watching, those of you that managed to, and you'll also be able to see this later if you didn't manage to catch me at this time. Think about who you need around you. Think about who is the next person that you might need if you're on your own. Who's that first person that you need to hire? If things aren't really working well in your team, then it's often because you're missing a person. So think about who you might be missing in your team. Post your comments below. Hope you have an amazing Friday and a great weekend, and I look forward to catching up with you all next week. Take care and be good. Bye guys, bye.